Knowledge is power. Make an impact by learning more, or hire us to do it for you. Let us focus on what we do best so you can stay focused on what you do best. Find all of our options under services, one-to-one training, subscription-based training, or accounting and business consulting. Slack for accountants and bookkeepers. I've been using Slack for a while, and I've been using it with my clients for a while. And I like it. I like it a lot. It saves me a lot of time. It actually makes my job easier, probably more so than it does the clients. And I know what a lot of you are thinking. You're thinking, well, first of all, you have questions. So the first question I want to answer right off the bat is, do you set up one channel or one workspace for all of your clients and have each one in their own separate channel? And the answer is no. That is a cluster something. And it is potentially disastrous in terms of posting the wrong messages in the wrong channels and things like that. And it's also not an efficient use of the incredibly powerful resource that is Slack, because now I'm limited to one channel per client. The whole point of Slack is the fact that you can organize conversations. Email's dead to me, right? Email at one time, it had its place, and it was an incredible improvement in the efficiency of our ability to exchange information. And now email is the opposite. It's a productivity killer. It's a pain in the neck. I see people posting all the time about how to get to inbox zero, right? Inbox zero is not a thing I care about anymore because I use Slack to communicate with my clients. So very little that's terribly important goes in through my email. I can check my email twice a day, if that, and be all good. And the only thing I'm checking my email for these days is for leads, for potential new clients who aren't in a Slack workspace yet. So I use Slack for all of my clients. In fact, initially, I offered Slack only to the higher paying clients, the clients at the higher levels that I offer. And then again, I just realized it makes my life easier. So I started offering it to clients at every level. And so the next question is, what about my non-tech savvy clients? Don't worry about your non-tech savvy clients. I have a client who's a 70-year-old artist who was standing in line at the bank getting copies of checks that I told him we needed, checks that were deposited that nobody knew whose money it was. And while he was standing in line at the bank, he pulled out his mobile app and went into Slack and started messaging me to get clarification about exactly what was needed. So if that guy can do it, your clients can do it, I promise. And that's the whole trick to this. And a lot of us, I think, maybe don't realize, I don't know. But the way I do this is I teach my clients. You know, I have the systems. When a client hires me, they hire me and my systems that come with me. So I don't ask the clients whether or not they want to do this or whether or not I can convince them. I just tell them, this is our system. This is what we do. This is how we do it. And I get them in and I get on Zoom with them and I share my screen and I show them how we use Slack, how to use Slack. I teach them at least, and it doesn't. I don't have to teach them all of Slack at once. In the beginning, all I need to do is show them how to get in there and how to post a message, and show them how we use the channels that help us organize the client conversations. And what I do there, by the way, especially when we're looking to start out, is I set up the channels largely according to the balance sheet, because the balance sheet is one of the main drivers for how we manage the resources of a client, for how we put the books together. If you ever worked as an auditor like I did, then you know that when we audit a company, we beat the hell out of the balance sheet and then go through the P&L, right? So the balance sheet is the key driver of the resources that are required, in order to maintain the books of a client. That's why I use that substantially in my bigger picture service offering. When we update a client's books each week, we basically go through the balance sheet. We make sure the bank accounts are updated, the credit card accounts are updated, we check accounts receivable and accounts payable, and so on. So that's how I set up my channels in my client workspace. So this is kind of a sample workspace. Now, and here I kind of gave an example, like I'll have accounts receivable, but let's say we have a particular client whose accounts receivable is troublesome, so I might set up a separate channel, even if just temporarily, called AR Client X, right? And then channels are almost like subscriptions. You can leave a channel. When you're done, you just come in here, and I leave AR Client X, right? And I'm out. And so now I'm no longer in that channel. And if you want to browse channels, you click or tap, if you're on the mobile app, on the word channels, and you'll see the list. Notice now it shows channels I can join, AR Client X. So I can join and leave channels based on what I'm interested or what I need at any particular time. This way you don't have to worry about cluttering up, having a really busy list over here. Another key trick that will help you not get overwhelmed with Slack, because when you do have a lot of channels, and there may come a point in time where you do, You know what you're looking for. You don't want to scroll a list. So what you do is you press Control and the letter K as in ketchup, and I can start typing corp. And there's my corp channel. And that'll take me right into the channel. And look what Slack tells me. I'm a pro at keyboard shortcuts. I don't need the jump option. No, I don't want to hide the button. I like the button. I want to leave that there because that's another way. And notice it even gives me the tip, Control K. Right, so Control K is also a way I can easily jump to different workspaces within Slack. Notice on my left, I'm using the desktop app. Do not ever use Slack in the browser. It was not built for that. It's just like a quick fix so you can get in quickly and then go download the app. So don't use the browser. It's actually a terrible experience compared to this. But if you're like me, and like I said, I have a lot of clients in Slack, and I have other use cases for Slack. So it can get overwhelming even here, right? That I have all these workspaces on my left margin. But not to fear, I can use Control K and start typing accounting, and there's my Accounting Business Academy Slack channel. So if I want to go into here and I want to go into our general channel, again, Control K, Control K, Control K. It is a lifesaver. It is absolutely the way to go, right? Control K, go back to my client, which is my sample client Slack workspace for accountants for when I do videos like this. So, just to quickly recap, I get the client in a remote session via Zoom. I show them how I use the tool. And in the process, they're going to get to see now firsthand. I don't have to explain it to them. I don't have to sell them on it because they're going to get to see exactly why this is going to make life so much easier. Because now when I'm looking for something and it has to do with a banking question, I know it's going to be in the banking channel. Slack also has great search, by the way. Next question you're going to ask me is, should I pay for it or should I use the free version? And my answer is, use the free version until you have to pay for it. How's that? Next question, you're going to want to know, is there a way to import a perfect list of channels that we should start every client off with? And the answer is stop doing that, because I know a lot of you'd like to do that with your chart of accounts too. Stop it. You're wasting time because you're going to end up with cluttering up a list of things that you with things you don't need, things you're never going to need, right? Build it as you go. Like I said, start out building your channel list based on the balance sheet. So if you go down the balance sheet, you're going to start with a banking channel. You're going to start with accounts receivable. You're going to start with payroll. You're going to start with sales tax if there's sales tax. Those last two items, by the way, on the balance sheet are evidenced by the presence of the corresponding liabilities accounts, right? So when you see payroll liabilities, you know, okay, we should probably have a payroll channel. So again, go through the balance sheet and start there, but then you're going to add things as you go, right? I had a client last year who was going through a cash flow crunch, and we had specific discussions around our strategies for handling that. So I created a channel called Cash Flow Crunch. And there were a few of us that joined in there and we talked about it. And you can make channels private too. So this way, if I have the client's whole team in there, but there may be discussions like that one that the whole team doesn't need to see. They don't need to see us talking about the fact that we're running out of money. So they go panic. So we made that a private channel, and there were only 2 or 3 of us in there, myself, the owner, and the number 2 guy in the company. So there's that. You can do that. And going back to the question of, when do you have to start paying? Essentially, you'll see when you start approaching 10,000 messages in a Slack workspace, that's when Slack starts warning you. And you can see it right here in this drop down too. If you're coming close to your limit, it will show you that here. Right here it says Slack's free plan. Right? If I go into my Accounting Business Academy, where it's pretty active in there, you should probably consider joining. Over here it says I'm on the standard plan, right? So if this was a free Slack workspace where I was approaching my limit, you would see something to that effect here, saying, 9,000 messages out of 10,000. That's really the only limitation on the paid versus free account in Slack is the number of messages it will keep for you. And you might even decide that you don't care to keep messages that are that old, because that's what will happen when you hit that limit. You'll get the warning, and then eventually Slack will just delete as new messages come in. It will delete the oldest messages. So 10,000 messages ago, there's a good possibility it's not something you're going to need anymore. But I don't know, I'm kind of a data junkie myself, and I like to keep these things forever, because what will happen is the one thing that I lose will end up being the one thing I needed. So that's one thing where I get a little OCD about it. But my suggestion to you is, first of all, if you have any questions, reach out to me. I'm very easy to find on the internet, and I'm more than happy to answer them. And secondly, just start using it. Pick one client. Pick an easy client, your most easygoing, friendly client who is more than happy to try things out with you. Start with that client. Those are usually the right clients to start these things out with. See how it goes so you can feel it out and you can kind of figure out your systems on a real live use case. Because I can give you the theoretical systems for theoretical use cases that you might encounter, but nothing's going to be more valuable than you actually just putting it into action and playing with it and testing out on one client first. And then once you get comfortable, you can start adding more and more clients in. But I promise you this, if you do this and you stick with it, you will have an experience just like I do where you almost never touch your email anymore. On the rare occasion I get an email from a client, I'm like, what? Like, what is he doing or what is she doing sending me an email? Because some clients don't realize yet that you can even forward attachments into Slack. And I've got a video on how to do that, and it's free. It's right on my YouTube channel. So that is my story, and I'm sticking to it. I hope this helps you. I hope this motivates and encourages some of you to actually try using Slack with your clients. I think you're going to thank me for it. But whatever the case is, once you've tried it out with a client, I would love to hear from you. So please reach out to me and let me know how it went, and definitely let me know if you have questions.